Charlie Ritt with the Ritt Group and Coldwell Banker Realty, and I want to talk to you, if you're a buyer out there or a prospective buyer, I want to talk to you about multiple offers. So when the inventory in the real estate market gets tight, multiple offers are a very common thing. What you'll often see on a listing is highest and best offers due by X date. That means the seller has multiple offers. The listing agent has asked for all offers to be submitted by a certain time and date. And this process is a blind bidding situation. So I want to talk about a few strategies as a buyer that you can employ to have a much better shot at getting your offer accepted. So, number one, be flexible. Being flexible on the terms and closing date in your offer can get you a long way. So the scary part when the inventory is so tight in real estate is that the seller may not have a home that they have picked out for the next one. So as a buyer, if you have the ability to offer flexibility on your closing date, that can go a long way. If you can give them 60 plus days to close the home, the seller will consider your offer a lot more. Number two, knowing your competition, meaning if we're in a bidding war versus 3 or 4 or 5 other offers, there's a decent chance that we may be up against a cash offer or somebody that's willing to waive that inspection contingency. Now that's a dangerous thing to do because you're buying the home without having a professional really look at it in depth. So really would only suggest that if you know your way around homes very well. Number 3, making a strong offer with strong financing. So making a strong offer, yes, offering over the asking price is probably going to be necessary in a multiple offer situation. And as a realtor, we can look up comparable sales in that area for a similar home to get an idea of how much higher above the asking price the typical seller has accepted in the past 6 months or so. Strong financing means working with a local lender, a reputable lender, someone that the listing agent can get a hold of with a local phone number. Looks and feels a lot better to a listing agent than having to call a 1-800 number during bank hours in order to have a question about the borrower's qualifications. That doesn't look as good when you're comparing that offer to 4 or 5 other offers. So working with a local lender who's reputable is important as well. I also mean by financing, the more money that you can put down for a down payment, the stronger you look as a buyer. And also if you can afford to cover your own closing costs, that too is going to get you a lot further in a multiple offer scenario. It's very tough to get your offer accepted if you're asking the seller to pay for your closing costs. Number 4, writing a love letter. You might be saying, what are we still talking about real estate? Yes, we are. I mean a love letter in that real estate sales are a highly emotional sale. So a seller who has stepped out on that ledge and is selling their home, they've probably got a lot of memories, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into that home. And so this is a tough process to give up this thing that they love. To get a letter from a buyer along with that offer, reassuring them how much they too love this home and will care for it, goes a long way. It's surprisingly effective and it's worth the time to write one. Number 5, inspection repair waiver. So even if you're not waiving that inspection, another strong thing that you can do with your offer is to say, if if you accept my offer, I will not ask you, the seller, to repair anything, even if we find something in that inspection that might, in normal circumstances call for asking the seller to repair. What this does for you, obviously, is assure the sellers that they're not going to get nickeled and dimed once they accept your offer. Number 6, an appraisal guarantee is another option. If you have that financial ability and that comfort level to do that, you can guarantee that the seller is going to receive the price that you've offered them in your offer. So let's say you offered $300,000 on a home that was listed for $275,000. Well, that home still has to appraise for $300,000. So if you, by saying an appraisal guarantee, if you say, seller, if the appraisal comes in lower than $300,000, I will cover the difference with cash at closing. The seller no longer has to worry that the appraisal isn't going to come in at that higher value because you are guaranteeing it with cash. Lastly, patience is key. You're probably not going to get your offer accepted on the first try. It's a very competitive market out there. It's going to require a lot of patience. You could talk to a lot of our past clients who have been through this, especially during the spring and summer rush. It can be very heartbreaking and very exhausting, but if you can have patience, know that there's always going to be another home, and with a little patience, we'll find one. I know this is probably a lot of information, but if you have any questions, please, we'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment or send us an email or give us a phone call. Hope that was helpful. Thanks.